In my most recent upload talking about ways of using basic abilities to counter ultimates in Overwatch, I have failed to properly address the nature of the different types of ultimates. While briefly skimming over a few ultimates that can be cancelled by using McCree's flashbang, I did not provide a comprehensive list of what can and cannot be shut down when using heroes like McCree and Sombra. From a logic standpoint, without any guidance from the developers, it's rather difficult to understand why some ultimates can and others cannot be cancelled. How is it possible that my EMP stops Roadhog when using something that is clearly mechanical and not electric to any capacity, but Soldier's tactical visor remains active even when hacked? Well, that's because ultimates do not work the way we would like them to. The game cares less about what makes sense logically and more about what makes sense from a technical and gameplay perspective. Talking about things that should and should not work opens a whole different can of worms, like why does Zenyatta get stuck in a Junkrat trap when he's floating? So again, logic aside, let's talk about the three different types of ultimates in Overwatch as they were ever so conveniently described in a recent patch note update. Number 1. Transformation Ultimates. These ultimates add a significant passive benefit to your heroes while allowing the use of weapons and abilities. So imagine any ultimate that brings heroes into a whole different state of being, doing things they otherwise cannot do while still being able to access their basic abilities. That includes Bastion and his tank configuration, Genji with his Dragon Blade, Mercy and her Moth form, Soldier 76 and his aimbot, Torbjorn with his Molten Core, as well as Widowmaker's Infrasight. How does that relate to our ultimate counter squad of Sombra and McCree? Well, any of these effects are immediate as soon as they press the button, meaning a flashbang cannot cancel them and Sombra's EMP will merely disable their basic abilities while they still have access to whatever benefit the ultimate itself provides. So Bastion cannot heal himself anymore but he can still fire, Genji can no longer dash but he can still swing, Mercy can't res anymore but is still insanely annoying, Soldier won't be able to run but he can still shoot, Torbjorn cannot create armor packs but is still able to fire, and Widowmaker, well, she can't grapple hook anymore but the Infrasight will still not go away. Number 2. Channeled Ultimates. These force your hero into a new mode and render your other abilities unusable while active. In most cases, these abilities can be interrupted at any point to cancel them. For all of you who have played MMOs before, for example, this concept should be rather simple to get behind. Any ultimate that has some sort of channeling effect, like trying to cast a powerful spell or conjuring a beam of magic that damages the enemies, can obviously be interrupted. The one thing that makes these ultimates easy to spot is, as described earlier, the fact that you cannot access any of your basic abilities. So that includes McCree and his Deadeye, Pharah and her Barrage, Reaper's Deadly Death Blossom, Roadhog with his Whole Hog, and the two exceptions to the rule, Doomfist with his Meteor Strike, as well as Zenyatta and his Transcendence. So excluding the last two, any of these ultimates can be interrupted via Flashbang, Hack, EMP, as well as other crowd control abilities like Sleep Dart. And the last type of ultimate, number 3, Cast Time Ultimates. These abilities require a small window of time to pass before they become effective. If they're interrupted during this window, they are cancelled. Those are the ones that have some sort of animation they go through before the benefit of the ultimate actually goes into effect. That includes Ana's Nano Boost, Diva's Cold Mech ability, Hanzo and his Dragon Strike, Junkrat with his Riptire, Lucio and his Sound Barrier, Mei with her Blizzard, Orisa and her Supercharger, Reinhardt's painfully telegraphed Shatter, Sombra's EMP, Symmetra and both of her deployable ultimates, Racer with her Pulse Bomb, and even Zarya and her Graviton Surge. What's interesting to note about these is that, while according to this post it should be theoretically possible to cancel any of these ultimates via crowd control abilities as long as you find the right window, in practice some of these are right about impossible to pull off on purpose in the heat of battle. Ana and Zarya, for example, have such a small window that it is very unlikely for you to be able to set yourself the goal to cancel their ultimates reliably. It is good to know that a coincidentally well-timed EMP, Sleep Dart or Flashbang can theoretically cancel all these ultimates and by that take away all their ultimate charge, but again, it is something that usually either does or doesn't happen. And that already concludes today's video on the different ultimate types in Overwatch. Admittingly, this one was rather easy and outright lazy in my series of explained videos, as we got one of these rare occasions where the devs actually give us some solid information rather than leaving us to find out for ourselves. If you're interested in having more things about Overwatch explained, feel free to check out my explained playlist down in the description below. But until then, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you all next time.